What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be interviewing EJ Tackett. Stay tuned after the intro. Alright, looks like we're recording now. So, 13 titles, 2 majors, Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, almost $1 million in earnings. EJ Tackett. How does that feel? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool that they've been able to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time. But, you know, I'm always looking to the future, and what I have is never enough. You know, I want to keep collecting titles, and especially major championships. Another Player of the Year would be really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's, you know, one of those things where if you only win it one time, you know, people will say, oh, well, it was a fluke. You only won it once. That's the way I perceive it, just for myself. Like, it's almost like proving it to myself that I can do it again.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about that is a quick little story is, you know, one Player of the Year in 2016. 2017 was my best year I've ever had on tour.
Really?
Because I wanted to prove to everybody that it wasn't just happened by chance.
Isn't
Jason
that the
won.
year that Belmo won a bunch of
He won 3 majors.
Yeah, that's
So you know, it's just one of those things that's hard to beat. He had 3 majors and a win, and I had 1 major and 3 other wins. But I mean, I was second in like every statistical category, and they were all to Jason.
Jeez. So any other year that was back-to-back.
Oh yeah, any other year, it was definitely a Player of the Year. Like the following year, Jason didn't bowl very good, and Andrew had a really good year. I think he had 2 or 3 wins. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 with the Masters win, and you know, he led like all the categories. But if you look at the 2017 year, he would have been like 3rd or 4th on all of the lists. So he had a really good year, but it also fell in a perfect time when Jason didn't perform his best or have one of his best years.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how, like that year, 2017, you would have been Player of the Year any other year, and then 2018. I mean, no sweat on Andrew. Andrew's an elite level talent.
Yeah, he had a great year.
Any other year, I mean, it was just a great year, not a Player of the Year, maybe. You know, obviously, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can never take it away from him. I mean, he did exactly
forever.
what he needed to do to, you know, he won a major championship and had a. I mean, not only did he won, I think it was twice that he won that year, but he made a lot of shows and he made a lot of step ladders in the extra frame or the flow bowling stops, and I mean, he was really consistent all year, which is what you have to do to win a Player of the Year.
I mean, forever. He's forever the 2018 Player of the Year, and you're forever the 2016 Player of the Year. You know, I mean, I personally, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm on motiv staff also. But even before I was on motiv staff, I threw a lot of other ball companies, and you've been one of my favorite players for a while, just because, you know, you see all these huge rev rates and people look like they're trying to destroy their wrist, and it seems like you do it so effortlessly.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like it just kind of naturally happened, you know. When I was young, I just went out and like tried to hook it as much as I could, and I just figured out how to do it at a young age.
So let's talk about some of your sponsors. Who sponsors EJ Tackett?
I got quite a few.
Yeah.
So obviously Motiv. Been with them ever since I've been on tour.
Okay.
I signed with them in October 2012. So
wow.
We got 2 years now, and then I'd be with them for 10, which is crazy to think about.
A lifetime.
Yeah, it's crazy. So with Turbo,
okay,
Genesis, Dexter,
okay,
Creating the Difference,
there we
Bowler
go.
X, and I think that's all of them. I always end up forgetting one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, right? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I got 2, you know, Logo Infusion and Motiv, you know, and I'm happy to be part of them, you know, and so the Creating the Difference, I love their Avalon pads or their sanding, you know, pads.
Yeah, they're very good.
Which one is your favorite? Because mine is the P5000D.
I use a lot of like 2000, like middle of the road stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause, on tour, we're not looking to get super shiny.
Of course. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but the good thing about the pads is I used like a Scotch Brite pad for a long time. Something
Okay.
that was a little more coarse. And these pads are very similar to that for me. And what I can do with it, even with like a 2000, is I can change how much surfaces on the ball just by the amount of pressure that I apply.
Okay.
So I kind of use that 2000 most of the time, and then I can, change it by the amount of pressure that I have.
I mean, obviously, I've only bowled a couple of regionals. I've never bowled a tour stop or anything. All I ever hear from you guys is how thick the oil is.
Yeah.
And is that why you use a lot of the, lower surface grits?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking for the ball to dig in and dig through that oil so that we
Okay.
can control the front part of the lane and get our ball to slow down in the mid part. Because if you have something shiny, it's never going to slow down in the middle part of the lane, and it's going to get too far down before it tries to hook, and then you just get a lot of over/under reaction that way.
Yeah.
And that's
No
how
bueno.
guys on tour really kind of control the pocket. Is we control the middle part of the lane really well.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me, Do you ever get nervous in clutch situations, or has that gotten easier as you get put in these situations time after time?
Yes, to both of those.
Yeah. Just say
I'm
yes.
so nervous, but it's, once you do it so many times, you know how to use that nervousness and the heightened heart rate and the adrenaline. You know how to use it in a good way.
Okay.
You figure out how to use it as it's not a negative anymore. Because I know when I first came out, like it was hard. Like I didn't know how to use that energy in a positive way.
Okay.
And it took me a couple of years. And once I figured out how to use that energy in a positive way and how it affected what I was doing to the bowling ball and how it changed the reaction of the ball while I was on TV, it's really when I started having success. Because I was making shows and I was having top tens, but I just couldn't bowl well on TV. So once I figured that out, and that's when I started bowling well, and that was basically beginning of 2016 is when the light bulb went on.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
figured out what I needed to do personally to have success on TV.
I like it. I like it, man. Now, some of these questions I did not write. I posted on Facebook, people asking questions. So some of them are a little, weird. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
I'm a vanilla guy.
Straight
So,
vanilla?
well, I always get like vanilla bean. Like that's always been one of my
Yeah.
favorites. So,
Haagen-Dazs makes a shout out to Haagen-Dazs. They make a really good vanilla bean.
yeah, that's always been like my go-to favorite ice cream.
So you bowled on TV numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Can you recall one match that was your favorite? Didn't necessarily have to be for a title. It could have just been versus a good buddy of yours or anything. Just your favorite match you've ever bowled on TV.
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously going to be something that I've won.
Yeah,
It's not going to be a lot.
No, what I
But,
meant was not in the finals. Like it could have been a win in like the step ladder or something.
yeah, obviously like the World Championships for me because it was like my first major win, and I started to bowl really good at the beginning of that 2016 year, and at the end I had a lot of confidence on TV, and that match was really good for me just for winning the major, and I was bowling against Tom Smallwood, who's one of my really good friends.
Okay.
And that made it a little bit more special. My dad was there. So, I mean, there was so much that went into that particular day.
That's the year that you ran into the stands and hugged your dad?
Yeah.
That was amazing. Going into this interview, I watched a lot of your, matches on TV, and that one was like, it looks super emotional. Most of the time people win and they run and grab the trophy first, and that was, you running into the stands, hugging your pops, that was like all time,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd say probably the second to that was last year at the tour finals.
Okay.
When I won out there at Red Rock.
Shout out to the Jackal Ghost.
Yeah. That's actually funny because I've won the tour finals twice, and I was thrown a jack of ghosts both times.
That ball, I mean, is it's pretty stupid how good that ball is.
Yeah.
You know, and
so but the reason like that particular win was special too is we had just lost my grandfather a week prior to that.
Oh,
so if you watch that show, I got super emotional when it was over.
Yeah.
Just because of that, it was a week to the day that he had passed.
That's
terrible.
So
yeah, it was tough because I wasn't able to go to any of the services because he passed away, and then that week we were in Portland, Maine for PBA League, and then I had to fly straight from Portland, Maine to Vegas to bowl the tour finals.
I
can't even imagine
it was a tough
week.
Yeah, I can't even imagine being in that Portland, Maine crowd with that on your mind. I mean, that could not have been easy.
No, it was a tough week, but getting the win at the end of the week, it made it really cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool because I was able to dedicate that win to him and my entire family.
That's amazing, dude.
It was cool.
Favorite person you've ever bowled on TV?
My favorite person I've ever bowled on TV.
Or if you could bowl anyone on TV, dead or alive, from any generation in their prime, not Jason, who would it be?
If I could bowl anyone in their prime. Well, seeing how Marshall Holman's been on the call for a couple of my wins,
okay,
I'd probably beat him just to see what would actually happen.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, but if I had to pick somebody right now in the current times to bowl on TV, this is going to come back. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to come back to bite. Who would you say?
I said, come at me, bro. No.
This would probably come back to bite me, but I'd have to say Tommy.
Okay.
Because I've always bowled well against him.
Yeah.
We've bowled each other a couple of times on TV, and I've bowled well every time.
I still can't believe he washed out in the 10th last time you guys bowled.
But here's the thing. Tommy Jones is one of the most clutch bowlers in the history of bowling.
Yes.
He's done that twice against me.
Oh. Next time you guys bowl on TV, I'm going to be there for the call.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is it's going to go reverse the next time because I said something.
Nah. You can't think like that. You can't think like that.
But the first time it happened was in Japan in 2013. So I opened in the 10th frame. Tommy needs a spare, spare and a strike or something. He gets 8 spare. He leaves a 2-10, makes it, and he needs 9 to tie, strike to win.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, and they're pretty easy in Japan, at least in that event. And he gets up and he 2-8-10, and I was like,
oh my god,
my eyes got about this big. And
yeah.
What? And he's obviously he's clutch, and he's Mr. Japan. He always
there.
He's won the tournament I think twice. And I'm like, did that just actually happen?
Wow. I've heard that you like bowling in Japan.
I do.
I worked a motiv booth at the Open Championship last year, and I don't know how your name got brought up. I mean, every day working the booth, but someone mentioned something about that. You love bowling in Japan. Is that how come?
Well, I mean, the country is beautiful to start off with, and everyone there is so nice. They absolutely love when the Americans or any foreigners come in. They're open arms when anybody comes into bowl, and we're really treated like real athletes.
I mean, as we should be.
Right, and it's the the culture is just so much different there than it is here, and then lastly, the thing I love the most is the food is unbelievable.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I mean, I've only ever had American Japanese food. Living here, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's incredible how good the food is there.
I bet. Now, have you the type of bowling balls you throw overseas? Do you throw this same mindset, bigger balls with tons of surface, or does it change when you go out there?
It changes just going from week to week at a tour stop. When I go over, obviously I can't take as many bowling balls as I do while I'm in the States. because I typically drive everywhere. But I'll take an array of balls. Like I'll always have a Venom Shock. I'll always have a Jackal
standard, yeah.
And then like you have a Forged Fire sitting there. I'll typically take like one of those. I'll have like a Supra. I'll take an array of bowling balls with different cores, different covers, just to like cover all my options that I might have while I'm there. But they typically put out something that's like, in Japan, they've started up putting out actual patterns in the past few years. But like when I go to like Korea, it's basically like a modified house shot. While we're there, sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes it's a little bit harder, just depending on the surface and the bowling center that we're at. But the type of pattern is pretty much the same every time we go over there.
Okay.
So I have a pretty good idea which bowling balls I need to bring. So I'll bring maybe an extra, whatever it is, like an extra Ghost or an extra Shock, or I'll bring 2 of something if I'm going to Korea.
So I'm asking this because I generally don't know the answer. So when you're bowling in Japan, is it still considered the PBA, or would it be the JPBA? Like,
well, in Japan, for like it's not called the Japan Cup anymore. It's called
the Domino something.
No, that's Korea.
Oh,
Domino
Korea.
Cup is Korea. It's changed a couple of times since I've been bowling over there. I don't remember what it actually is called right now. But they run in conjunction with the JPBA. So, like Kirk Von Kruger would be there running the tournament. He'd be the tournament director.
Oh, okay.
And it would count for a PBA title, but it's running in conjunction. The JPBA and a PBA both run the event.
So do you get a chance to throw any of the overseas balls while you're over there in Japan or Korea, or do you?
I have in Korea. Korea is not a PBA event. It's run strictly by the KPBA.
Okay.
And some of the distributors over there will want me to throw, whatever. Typically, it's a Jackal ball.
There's a lot of overseas Jackals.
Yeah, so I'll get one and I'll take it with me. So the Wilburs will talk to them, and if they want me to throw one, they'll keep one back from their shipment that they're sending over there. And they'll send it to me so I can drill it up and at least throw it a little bit before going over there, because the colors make such a differse in how.
Oh yeah. Pigment matters a lot,
And in Korea, they just say the Wilburs don't do a lot of testing. They'll just say, we want XY color, make it. And
make it happen. Here's the money.
Yeah, just make these colors, and you don't know exactly how it's going to roll. So, I'll want to have it at least a week or 2 before I'm going over there, so I can throw it a little bit and figure out what the characteristics of those particular colors with that particular cover on that particular core.
Yeah,
does.
Right.
So it's a science to figure out,
Oh, definitely.
What the ball's going to actually do.
Now, this next question came from several of our teammates on Motiv staff. What is your go-to Chipotle order? Because on Motiv staff, we love Chipotle, I guess. That's
it's Qdoba. That's my go-to Chipotle order is Qdoba.
Oh, man. Wow. All right, guys. Interview's over. See you guys. Okay, so we'll change it up. What's your Qdoba order? Your go-to Qdoba order?
I always get a ground beef burrito.
Okay.
And then, some lettuce. Always have queso. Then shredded cheese.
I'm a queso fan.
Throw some pico on there, and then I'm good to go.
Now, have you ever had Cafe Rio out here in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
Our ball rep is Brett Spangler. I've had Cafe Rio.
yeah, I was gonna say, if you know Brett, he loves steak salad for days.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
But as far as like the Chipotle, like I like Qdoba better. The queso just changes everything for me.
Yeah.
At Qdoba. So
I mean, the queso at Chipotle is pretty bad. I mean, sorry Chipotle, but
yeah, the queso Qdoba is top notch.
Mint. All right, so do you think you are better at golf or bowling? Because I've seen your golf swing. It's pretty mean.
If I was better at golf, I would not be bowling.
I mean, that's kind of what I told everyone who asked me that question, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
Yeah, because I'd be, I sit and think about sometimes how much money the golfers make, and I'm like,
oh my God,
if I played golf and had just the wins that I've had. So I've had 13 wins, including 2 majors. Like
Ooh.
that in itself is
Millions.
about
Yeah.
15 to 18 million dollars. Just the wins.
Well,
So,
I mean, so you won the world championship in 2016, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
first place on that was like what, 50K?
60.
60K. You imagine winning the world championship of golf?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta use majors. So if you just use we'll just use like the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, they're $2 million now. They've been
Yeah,
$1.5 million
it's
for
a long time.
10
Plus, they
years.
still have an
10
exempt tour.
years.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
So it's crazy. So yeah, if I was better at golf, I would not be bowling.
I mean, fair. I mean, I love bowling, but if I was better at golf, I'd probably be golfing as well. You
Yeah.
know.
But hey, things are changing, and Coley and everybody with Bolero they want to change the whole landscape. They want bowlers to be millionaires. So
Yeah, you know, at first I was a little nervous. I mean, I don't bowl on tour, so it doesn't affect me at all. But I'm still a really big fan of bowling. I was a little nervous when this whole Bolero thing happened at the very beginning, and then I started seeing all the changes that she's trying to implement, and I think it's amazing. I think it's great for bowling.
yeah, I think so as well. And people like yourself, they were kind of skeptic because they think that Bolero we're trying to push leagues out, but they're really not. And it's great for the tour and it's great for them. If you really sit down and think about all the pieces that they have. Okay, Bolero owns 300 bowling centers, which now owns the PBA Tour. Now they can promote the PBA Tour in 300 bowling centers minimum.
Minimum, yeah, minimum.
And what does that do for sponsorship? Okay, Bolero goes and says, I want you to sponsor the tour, whatever it is, XYZ company.
Yeah.
All right, and we can get you into 300 places in the United States instantly advertising.
Immediately, yeah, on all the screens,
so,
leagues, open play.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's great for the whole industry, not just the tour, not just open play, not just leagues, just bowling as a whole. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I know Coley and her whole team at Bolero is working day and night to try to change the whole landscape and the way bowling is viewed by people that don't bowl.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You know. So the next question here is, I think you've already answered it in one of your favorite moment on tour. Would it be the 2016 World Championship?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's anything that I can do in bowling that's gonna top that moment.
Oh, I can imagine. You know, it's like I said earlier, it's a great moment, and it didn't even happen to me. I watched on TV. You know. Yeah. Favorite bowling center you've ever bowled at, anywhere?
Really, it's hard to say that I've got like a favorite one. There's a bunch of bowling centers that I have bowled really well at over the years. Like Lubbock, Texas, where I got my first win.
Okay.
I've always bowled good in Reno at the stadium. I've always bowled good in Vegas at the Plaza. Always bowled good in Detroit.
Okay.
I enjoy bowling in Indianapolis. I haven't bowled as well there as I feel like I should because I've bowled there my entire life.
Yeah, right. I was saying, aren't you from there? You know.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of bowling centers I really enjoy going to, and then you got smaller centers like in Coldwater, Ohio. It's like one of the hardest bowling centers you ever bowl in your life.
Well, I know it must be tough because they turned it into a verb. You got cold watered. I mean, what does that even mean?
Literally. What you don't know until you show up and bowl.
Yeah.
Like, or even walk.
Yeah.
You don't know the meaning of getting cold water until you actually been there.
Yeah, I mean, I know it must be tough. If, like I said, if they turn it into a verb, it has to be like impossible.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So, what's your PAP and your rev rate?
I'm like, it changes and it's changed over the years, but it's always been like 5-ish over, about an inch up.
Okay.
Has always been my PAP. When I'm bowling, like it will change while I'm bowling because sometimes I'm trying to get up the back of it, sometimes I'm trying to get around it a little bit more. But it's somewhere in that ballpark, 5-ish and 1-ish.
Okay.
Rev rate is typically around 515.
Okay.
Normal shot, 500, 515 is a normal shot.
Jeez, I mean, got me by 200. Now, do you know what your tilt is and your axis rotation, or?
Rotation, again, it changes with
Of course.
every pattern we're bowling on, but typical shot is around 40, 45 degrees
Okay.
rotation, and my tilt I think is somewhere around 12, I believe 10, 12,
Ish. Okay.
14, something somewhere in there. They do it every year when Team USA, they're always measuring everything.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's always been somewhere around there.
What would you say your strength and your weaknesses on the lanes?
I think one of my strengths is just being able to, manipulate the bowling ball with different hand positions and speeds and rev rates and stuff like that,
Okay.
and really manipulate the bowling ball to get it to do what I want and get it the shape that I want to see. Obviously, you can't do it every single time on the lanes, but I feel I do it more often than not that I'm able to, figure something out to at least hit the pocket and, get a check. If I don't have what I think is good for me that week, is still be able to cash and maybe finishing in the top 10 when you don't have, your A stuff.
Okay.
So as far as weakness goes, when we get in the middle part of the lane, like 15-ish, and I got to play, just like 7-8 in that
Okay.
area, and they're kind of flat. Like in that area is where I tend to struggle. When I'm playing really straight, I've always felt like I was pretty good. And when I'm hooking the lane, I always feel like I'm pretty good.
So kind of that
But it's
middle
like
part.
that medium area. But luckily for me, that medium area doesn't typically last more than a game or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like starting there, and I'm just trying to bowl like 200 or better.
Just
when I'm
bail
in
out
that
a
part of the
decent
lane.
game and.
Yeah, because typically when I'm in that part of the lane, like I know that 2 games from now I'm going to be 10 left of where I am, and it's going to be wide open for me.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, all right, I just need to get through these first 2 games and bowl like more than 400, and then I'll be fine. So that's kind of my mindset when I get to that. And then there's other times where it's the opposite on like the longer patterns. I feel like I have to get all my pins in the beginning because towards
Okay.
the end, like I'm trying to bowl 200 towards the end.
Now, is that because there's so much carry down on the longer patterns
Well, it's
closer to
just
the pin deck?
no, it's just that like just how I throw the ball. And I actually talked to Ronnie about this. Like our tilt is like kind of in the middle, and guys that have like no tilt and a lot of tilt tend to bowl better on the longer patterns because their
Okay.
ball doesn't like overhook off the dry, so they can still use some of the hook. Where like Ronnie and I, we have to go really far left, and then we're in so much oil if we miss
Yeah,
left,
yeah,
miss
yeah.
right. So we have to be very accurate when it gets later in the block of those super long patterns. Where in the beginning we can just kind of keep our angles like this and just play it straight, and then obviously the lane's just going to go away
Yeah.
when it gets like that. And then so towards the end, I'm just trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do at the beginning of the other blocks. So
Cool.
it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You just
Yeah.
got to know what you're trying to do,
I like it. So, coronavirus is affecting everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody. We all went through a shutdown where we were all quarantined at home. I mean, I still have not been back to work. What did you and Nat do to spend your time? I mean, can't go anywhere.
I mean, luckily for us, we live in a small town. And there was, even right now, we've had like 80 cases or something like that in our town.
Wow.
So it's been very, very low, and everything's pretty much stayed open. Like all the fast food restaurants are still open. We could drive through and get some food. Like Lowe's and Walmart has been open the whole time.
Okay.
So in the grocery store, obviously, the essentials. So we could still like go out. So we weren't like confined into our house.
Okay. Lucky you.
We were able to like do some stuff like clean the house finally, and
Right.
we remodeled a bathroom, put some
Nice.
flooring in, did an office.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I think I saw pictures.
Yeah.
I think
So
Matt-
our next project's putting flooring in the basement. So
Nice. Nice.
and then I've been able to like actually take care of like landscaping and mow my grass more, and try to take care of the grass a little bit better than I normally am able to because I'm always gone.
Right.
And we actually went on vacation a couple of times.
Nice.
We went down to Florida once, and then I've been down to Florida 2 other times to do the bowling stuff. We were in Pigeon Forge for like 11 days. So we've gotten to do quite a bit of stuff. But it does suck that you can't just go do anything that you want you're normally able to do. So, but it hasn't been that bad for us because we've still gotten to get out and do some stuff.
Nice. I mean, thankfully, right? And hopefully, we can put all of this behind us. So what would you say your go-to that activity that's not bowling or golf?
I don't know. Probably just if I'm at home, it's like, doing landscaping and doing yard work and stuff like that. That would be my go-to stuff to do. I bought a table saw this year, so I started doing a little bit of, wood stuff.
Nice.
Cutting and making some stuff. So, that sort of thing would be like my go-to.
Okay.
Just trying to make the house look better.
Right. I mean, that's all we can do,
Yeah.
So this question, I don't know, it's a little deep. What makes EJ Tackett EJ Tackett?
There's a lot of things that I think make me who I am. Obviously, my parents. I come from very blue collar, hillbilly type family.
Okay.
And that's just who I am. Ronnie Russell and I hang out all the time, and he's always like, "You should get this. You should do." I'm like, "No, it's what I got's fine." And it's like all raggedy, and I'm like, "Dude, it still works. It doesn't matter." So
right.
That's just who I am. When I was young, my dad actually had a pretty good job, and then in 2004 he quit and went into bowling centers.
Nice.
And we had 3 at one point, and then the recession hit, and we lost basically everything.
Wow.
And was able to keep one bowling center. And my parents paid themselves collectively for a long time about $25,000 a year.
Wow.
To live on and raise 2 kids. So we didn't have much. When I got to after 13 years old, we really didn't have a whole lot of funds, and it was a lot of. I worked at the bowling center to help my parents, and then I started working at the country club that I'm actually a member at now.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
To just help. My parents didn't have any health insurance, and my brother developed epilepsy, so my parents had to pay. It was like $800 or $900 a month out of pocket for his medications that he had to have. So it was after the recession, it was pretty rough for a long time.
I can imagine.
My parents still aren't wealthy now. They're better off than they were then. They have health care finally again, and the bowling center we're at now is, well, when it was open. We are open now, but it's in the summer in Indiana, which nobody wants to.
Nobody bowls. Yeah. Hopefully. So your parents still own that bowling center?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I live about 5 miles away from it.
Oh,
and there's one stop sign between me and the bowling center.
Wow. Yeah.
No red light.
Right. No red light. Here in Las Vegas, it's the opposite. In the summer, I mean, right now it's 110 degrees and it's 10:40 in the morning. Right. So nobody is outside doing anything right now. You have a favorite layout that you put on your bowling balls? And if so, why?
So typically, when a new ball comes out, the guys will send me 2 of them.
Okay.
And what I've always done is just pin up with the CG about 3/4 of an inch from my midline. Okay. I don't use numbers when I.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then I would just do pin under the bridge, CG about 1.5 inches away, and a 7/8 hole, about 4.5 inches, 50 degrees from my center of grip.
So in the PBA, let's say in the PBA, can you guys use holes or no?
Well, I don't know what they're actually going to do. I know they talked about finishing this season before they adapted to the no weight hole rule.
Okay.
but I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do now.
Yeah, because today's the last day.
If they're just going to go ahead and abide by it, or if they're going to stick to what they were originally going to do, because they didn't want to have the change in the middle of a season. So they were going to go ahead and finish this season, and then January 1, adapt that rule on tour, because we have the ability to do that. We are governed by USBC rules, but we don't. So stuff like that, like the tour can decide if they want to implement it or not.
Okay.
So they were just going to delay it by 5 months or 4 months and just do it Jan 1. But like I said, I'm not 100% certain on what they're going to do now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of weight holes. Rip, but can't.
Yeah, I'm probably 50-50 on having them and not having them.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they want to get rid of them. People were abusing them. I understand that, but still, I mean, we've had them for so long. I mean, everything changes, so.
Yep.
So do you have any gems lying around? I mean, I know that you have to have something.
Yeah, I've got, I don't know, it could be a whole case, I'm not sure, 2 or 3 at least, of the original revolts.
Man, that's a good one.
So, yeah, I've got some of those laying around. I got I know I've got a Cent Solid, 1 or 2 of those. I've got a bunch of older urethanes. I think I got a couple Rebel tanks, a couple of the Rampages, the Ron Burgundy ones.
Ron Burgundy.
I know I have at least one of the original green tank.
Oh, man, those are super sought after.
Yeah, so I have at least one of those. And then I have a case or 2 of original Forzas that are 16 pounds. So
pounds
the first time, that the Forza in 16 pounds was unbelievably good.
Really?
So I'm give me all of them you got left.
Yeah, right?
They had 10 or 12 of them. They just said, here you go, take them all.
Take them all.
So I took them all, and I only drilled a few of them because I only drilled them one way. It was just pin down, like I was telling you earlier, the pin down, CG over here with the hole down.
Okay.
That's the only way I drilled them. That was the only way they rolled good for me.
Okay.
So I'm I've got enough to last me a freaking lifetime.
A lot, yeah.
I'll just drill a new one every year.
Now, is it true? I heard that you don't change your span and pitch as much at all, so you can go back and throw old stuff as long as it's the right weight.
Yeah.
Wow,
and that's why I have a whole barn full of. I've probably got 150 balls in there that are either new or drilled.
Wow.
And I can still just go use them. But if I need to, my parents own a bowling center, so if it's if I've changed a little bit, I can always just go plug it and just
of course
use it. So those old balls that we can't find, I do that all the time with them, where I'll just plug them up and re-drill them.
See, I only have 2 gems lying around here. I got a original Octane.
I got those.
Original. And then Brett might be mad when he sees this one, but I got a Thrash original lying around.
That's a good pin and good weight on top weight on that too.
Man, it was the score of a lifetime
with good numbers on them. I've got let's see, I got I think I have a QZ2 backdraft out there somewhere too.
My first 3 honor scores were backdrafts.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I know I've got a bunch of octanes. I still might have a brand new 16-pound octane sitting around somewhere too.
Well, I remember when I picked this one up, I asked you about the if you wanted it, because I knew that you were a fan of that ball. Yeah. But you said, so you keep bouncing, or not keep, but you've bounced back and forth a couple times between 15 and 16. Is it just a preference, or is there a specific reason that you switch?
A little of both. So in our bowling balls, almost every single one of them, from 15 pounds to 16 pounds, the 16-pound balls, the diffs are lower.
Okay.
So just having it, a couple points lower just
makes
helps
a difference,
through the front part of the lane for me.
Okay.
I think I'm actually going to go back to 15 here soon because of the no weight holes. So
makes sense.
So that I can have a little bit of extra diff back in the ball, because I think I'm going to need it.
Would you ever go to 14 if you needed more diff?
No, I wouldn't go to 14. Yeah, too much deflection.
Yeah. So how do you plan on being better? I mean, obviously you're already a world-class bowler. right? So, I mean, as we spoke earlier, you said you wanted to win more titles, more majors, more player of the years. So how does EJ Tackett become that much better?
Just the right practicing. I'm not one that practice every single day, but it's keeping your body in check and practicing the correct way, the correct amount of time. And everyone's different. Guys like Jason Sterner, they practice every single day.
Oh, workaholic.
Yeah. I'm not that person because I feel like for me, it's counterproductive. I do the same thing in golf. Like if I go to the range and hit a bunch of balls, I start messing with stuff, like little stuff. And then you get out of sync and then I've already gone the wrong direction. So that's why I don't practice, all the time in bowling, because then I start messing with little stuff and then you just start thinking too much, in my opinion. So I just don't, but that and something that I haven't done a lot of that I really need to focus on and start doing more of it. And it's doing proper workouts for bowling. I know Heather Jericho and she's got her thing that she does.
I did see that.
Yeah. Actually, PBA brought her in and like she has an app that we downloaded and she has bowling workouts on there that we can do.
Oh, that's cool.
And Coley, the CEO, she actually bought memberships for Planet Fitness for the top so many players.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
So she's encouraging us to also, take care of our bodies a little bit better. We're not going to look like football players, but we do need to take care of our bodies and get long. Bowling needs to be, your muscles need to be long and strong, not short and bulky.
Yeah, agreed.
So that and flexibility and agility is like the three biggest things that we need to work on as bowlers. And it's kind of paralleled with golf. Most golfers aren't bulking; they're just getting stronger.
Except for those long drive guys; those guys are huge.
Yeah, and Bryson DeChambeau.
yeah, those guys are. So EJ, you have your own merch. I've seen the EJX logo everywhere. If someone like me wanted to buy some of your merch, where would they go?
So right now I'm working on, and some of the stuff has started to come out, but I've partnered with Lee and Chris Sant at BowlerX. So we're using their platform to sell all the merchandise. So I would be on the lookout for it. If you want to go buy it, I would just go visit bowlerx.com and you'll start seeing more and more stuff show up. And I think it's something that Lee and Chris are going to do with a lot of pros that are on staff with BowlerX. They're going to. I think Lee's working on creating a pro tab within the website, and you'll be able to go there for all the professionals.
Cool.
And the merchandise that they have. So I'm very thankful to him that he's allowed me to do that, because I just thought it was easier to do it that way because he already had a website that's established. Everybody goes there.
A platform,
Yeah. So I just thought it was easier to just go that route, and it helps me and it helps them. It gets a little bit more eyes in their website, and it's an easy place for me to put my merchandise and not have to build a website and all that jazz. So.
Cool. And do you have a promo code at BowlerX?
I think it's still active. I'll have to ask for sure. But
we'll add it on the screen right here.
EJT 300 was my code before.
EJT 300. Cool.
Yes.
Everyone targets differently. Obviously, like Wes Malott looks closer to or at the foul line, for example. Where do you target when you're bowling?
So I typically am looking about where the set of dots are between the foul line and the arrows. Is basically where my eyes go. I used to look at the arrows, and then a few years ago, I found myself, I was looking there. Like it happened by accident. I didn't try to do it. I didn't move my eyes there. It just did. I think it was because there was the oils were getting a little bit thicker, and there was a little bit more oil in the front of the lane. and I was trying to get my ball to pick up a little bit sooner and roll a little bit quicker. And I think that's why my eyes just naturally moved closer to me.
Okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So when I'm like lofting the ball, trying to get it pretty far down the lane, like I'm looking at the arrows because I want my ball to go farther.
Makes sense. Ball can't hook in the air, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it depends on like where I'm playing on the lane. I would say 98% of the time my eyes are around those dots.
So someone asked, are you considering any off-season golf to maybe make some money while you guys aren't bowling right now, right?
No, we're not bowling right now.
So
and here's the thing about golf. As an amateur, you can't make money in golf. No. It's one of the biggest differences between golf and bowling. As an amateur, the guys that play like the U.S. Amateur and they qualify for the Masters, they make $500 to win that, and it's in pro shop credit.
What?
And if that said person goes to the Masters and wins, they will get no money.
Oh my God!
They can't accept it as an amateur, and once they make it into the event as an amateur, they can't say they're a professional.
It's too late to,
because you qualified for the event as an amateur, so you have to play as an amateur. Now after the event, you can turn professional, and if somebody wants to give you an endorsement, blah blah blah, that can all happen, but it can't happen before the event.
Oh, I had no idea about that. That's insane.
So there's a huge distinction between amateur and professional in golf.
Wow.
And if you go to like an event and say, I'm going to go play, I'm going to make money, I'm going to enter as a professional. So let's say I go play the Indiana State Open. You can play as an amateur or as a professional. So there's also an Indiana State Amateur. If I play the Indiana State Open as a professional and I make money, I can no longer play the Indiana State Amateur.
Wow. Forever.
There's a period of time, and you have to write a letter to get your amateur status back.
Wow.
There's a process you have to go through to get your amateur status.
Wow, that's insane.
So like what happens in bowling. So let's use like the Bradley Open that they have in Kentucky. In golf, I would not be able to bowl that event.
Because you are a professional.
I'm a professional. Because it's an amateur event. But also the amateurs would not be able to make more than $500.
That's insane.
That's how golf works.
It's pretty cutthroat. So if you see an amateur winning a major, feel bad for them.
Yeah. So the same thing goes with like the U.S. Open. I can try to qualify for the U.S. Open in golf. If I do it I can pick whether to do it as an amateur or professional. If I do it as an amateur and I make it to the U.S. Open and I finish 7th place, I still get no money.
So is there an advantage in golf for being listed as an amateur or as a professional?
Well, so kids coming up through college, like they have to be an amateur. You can't be a professional.
Oh, because you can't make money in the NCAA.
Yeah. So there's some guys that just want to keep their amateur status because they play like the U.S. Amateur, they play their state AMs, and stuff like that. They just want to play those events because they enjoy playing it, because they work another job, like a normal job, and they just enjoy playing golf for fun. They just stay an amateur because they want to play those events. But other guys like club professionals and stuff, they're considered a professional, so they can't even play those events because they are considered a professional.
So what's it like bowling on the blue oil versus the invisible oil?
There's not much difference. We don't look at it that much and that hard. We're always looking to see what the ball does by what the ball is doing. We're not looking at the oil to tell us.
Okay. That makes sense.
Sometimes it can help because you can see, you'll see a track, and then you'll see somebody like Jason. You see that he's 4 boards left of that track. You're like, okay, he's 4 boards left of that track. So you know where he is.
Yeah.
You don't have to guess. So you can see where everybody else has been playing, see where he's at, and it can kind of help you guide a little bit of where you're going. But we don't get too in depth. Like, oh, there's a track there, we have to be left. It's nothing like that. It just sometimes it can help us guide a little bit, but we're typically looking at the bowling ball, trying to get the bowling ball to tell us what we need to do.
So the actual blue, is is that oil or is that a dye that gets added into the oil?
I think it's just a dye that gets added into the oil.
So on the lane, there's oil and not oil mixed in. Does that make
basically, but it doesn't really have an effect on on how it plays. The blue oil is typically, I think, a little bit slightly thicker. They say it isn't, but it plays a little bit thicker.
When you're done bowling on TV, right? You got the oil all over the ball, all over the shirt. It's funny, you see some of the rookies, they wear white shirts and then it gets all over their shirt. Does that come off, like the shirts, the bowling ball? Like I've seen like Zach Wilkins as an example. After he made a TV show last year or the year before, I bowled with him here in Vegas, and the ball that he was throwing still had blue oil all over it. Does that ever come off?
On the bowling balls, it depends on the color of the bowling ball. Sometimes it will wear out. It will fade over time. You'll still be able to see a little bit of the rings. But as far as the shirts, I haven't really gotten that much on me over the years. I'm pretty good at like wiping my ball off and keeping it off my shirt. But I also tend to wear like darker colors on TV too, just because of that. I wear a lot of blues, so that way it will just blend in.
Yeah.
But I think it will come out of the shirts eventually if you wash them enough.
Makes sense.
But I've heard guys say that I think it will come out, but I've never really had to, because I'm pretty good at like I said, keeping it off my shirt while I'm bowling.
So what I think you need to do, EJ, is on your next major, you're the number 1 seed, right? You wear a white shirt, right? And then after you win, you machuga flop. I say let's do it.
I probably won't do that. I ain't trying to break any ribs.
Yeah, right. So what advice would you give someone who's looking to bowl their first regional and or join the PBA for the first time?
I would tell them to have a really good understanding of their equipment, what it does and what it doesn't do. Learn how to use surface on your bowling balls correctly, and what it means when you use 1,000, what it means when you use 2,000, and what it does to the bowling ball for you, because it does something different for everybody. You have to really understand what those do to the bowling ball for yourself. You have to really understanding lane play, how to break the lanes down. You always want to break them down a little bit further to the right, so that way we're trying to create a house shot when we're breaking lanes down. We're trying to create hook to the right. And, as you throw spare shots down the lane, there's the shim comes in, the hold will come in as you bowl more games. So we're trying to create the hook all the time. And just understanding ball motion. Your bowling ball is going to tell you what you need to do. You're not going to be perfect at it every single time. Nobody is. But the better you can understand what the bowling ball is doing on the lane will help you what you need to do, what your next move needs to do. Whether it's I need to move left with this ball, or I need to change balls. I need to change balls and move left. I need to change my rotation. I need to add a little bit more. I need to roll it more. Whatever it is, like your bowling ball is telling you what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, especially in my time in the pro shop, was these bowling balls are tools. You don't always need a sledgehammer. Sometimes you need an axe or whatnot, And so I really appreciate that answer. So your first 300 you ever bowled, do you remember when it was? Do you remember what ball you were throwing? Do you remember having the shakes?
I do. So the first 300 I ever bowled, whether it was in practice or competition, this one was in practice. I was 12 years old.
Oh my God!
At our bowling center, and I was bowling on lane 1. It was a Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
The lady thing was going on, and I was throwing a Fear Factor.
Oh my God!
The ball I was throwing at. So I bowled 300, and then my first sanctioned 300 was 2 years later when I was 14 at our bowling center. I was bowling on 7 and 8, and it was on a Saturday afternoon youth adult league bowling with my dad. And I bowled 300, I think, the second game, and I bowled 701 series.
Wow.
I had 200, 300, 201.
Okay, so I'm about to make you laugh.
That was my first sanction, and I was throwing a domination.
Okay. The not the Ebonite one, right?
No, that was a
storm domination. Yeah. What about your first PBA 300?
That was actually my first regional ever bolt. I bowled 300.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in Lafayette, and I was throwing a black hammer, OG black hammer urethane ball.
Okay. Wow.
It was on. I think it was on Cheetah or Wolf or something, and yeah, I was actually bowling with Eugene McCune.
Wow. Okay. So was he firing it up the?
Oh, absolutely. He was throwing 112.
So my first, you said you shot 701, right? So my first 300 was on a Friday night in Miami, Florida. I'm from Miami originally. I got asked to sub like absolute last minute. I threw one shot in practice, right? And at the time, it was in 2012. I started bowling in 2009. So I was only averaging like 180 at the time. And I was throwing like a third drill 900 global breakout, right? 300 game one. I mean, you imagine what a 180 bowler looks like after shooting 300, right? Comeback game two, shot like 156 or something like that. And a game three, like maybe 160. I like barely shot 600. I was like 610 for my first 300. And I didn't care. I was the happiest guy in the world. You know? Oh, that's funny. So this is an interesting question. How do you feel being the face of the brand? Because, you know, when I think motiv, I mean, obviously I think of other bowlers as well, but the first guy that comes to mind, you know, even before the Wilburs is EJ Tackett. Do you feel any added pressure being the face of a company?
No, I don't feel any added pressure. I think it's really cool that, you know, I've been with them for so long and I've seen the company grow up. You know, Motiv and I have kind of done this together. And it's really cool to be a part of the company and have, you know, I've done some ball testing and stuff like that over the years, and to have input and stuff like that actually helps the company grow and get better. It's been really, really cool to be a part of the whole process and see the company go from the bowling balls just being okay to, wow, they are really good now. Yeah. You know, so it's been really cool to be a part of that process.
Now, do you remember what your first staff ball was? Like the first ball you got when you first got on staff?
Well, I'll tell you the first ball that I got from Brett that made me want to sign with Motiv. And it was in 2011 at the US Open. Original Primal TV4.
Wow.
My first Motiv ball.
Wow.
That Brett gave me at the US Open. It helped me make the cut. And fast forward a year and a half later, I decided I'm going to go on tour. Motiv was my first call. I said, hey, I'm going to go on tour. Can I be on staff? And I think my contract was in my email box in about 45 minutes.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet.
You know, Brett's from Indiana. He knew who I was. He was actually coaching high school during the time I was in high school. So he actually been watching me bowl for well over 10 years at this point.
Wow.
So that he was very excited and worked very quickly to get me that contract. And he, when I called him, I don't think he was going to even let me have the opportunity to
call someone. Yeah.
Anyone else. And I'm so thankful for the Wilburs and Brett and everybody at the company. It's truly a family to be a part of.
I mean, I agree.
I can't imagine myself being anywhere else at this point in my life.
And I'm sure that the Wilburs and Brett and everyone else, you know, at Motiv, I'm sure we want to keep you for as long as possible, obviously, you know.
I want to be here forever too. So
it's funny. So your first Motiv ball was that Primal TV4. My first staff ball was the Primal Rage LE. I mean, but I mean, I've been on staff now going on like 2 years, so obviously not very long. So how do you get, when you first came on tour, could you have ever imagined what it would be like right now?
No, actually.
Not even in your wildest dream. You're like, I'm the best bowler in the world. I am going to win majors, player of the year.
Yeah. No, when I first came out, I knew I had the ability that at some point in my career I was going to win. I knew that some week, sometime, it was all going to come together, and I was going to win an event. I didn't think by the time before I was 28 years old, I'd have 13 of them.
That's, I mean, anyone who's, I mean, I'm uber competitive, so I want to win everything. I don't care if we're playing tic-tac-toe, checkers, like I want to win every single time. So like you're basically living the dream, right? I mean, you get to do what you love for a living, win. I mean, I'll give you one of these right here. So you throw a bad ball. We all do them, right? And what I hear is to have that quick memory. It's over. Put it in the past. What do you do to clear your mind after a errant shot, a bad shot, or even a good shot that you get absolutely hosed on?
I just try to decipher like what actually happened.
Okay.
And you're trying to do that quickly, so that way you're not pondering about it forever. If it's a bad shot, I just say, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing? Like, just don't do that again. So I go up there and I know what happened the shot before, whatever it was. So I'm focused on my tendency is just to get around it a little bit.
Okay.
So the next shot is going to be focused on making sure that my hand stays right here. And
yeah, I think we've all heard you say, "What are you doing?" on TV a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it happens all the time when I'm bowling during qualifying. It's the same thing. You just don't hear it. I'm saying the exact same thing to myself at the line. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
What was that?
So this next question, when I first read it, I thought I was going to know the answer right away. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm not 100% sure. But someone wanted me to ask you to pick between the original Octane and the Octane Carbon. Because the Octane Carbon you won a major with?
Yeah.
Right? And then the Octane has been one of your favorites. So someone wants you, I mean, it's funny because the OG, yeah. That was my first initial thought, but I wasn't sure. It's funny because the Octane Carbon is my personal favorite ball ever. A lot of people didn't like it. I don't know why. I have one drilled and two undrilled ones. I love it.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. It's one of those things. Both the bowling balls that I won majors with didn't really last in my bag very long.
It was a chronic paranoia, right? Yeah.
I mean, it didn't. That ball's not around.
No,
I don't use that ball anymore. Octane Carbon, I don't use that ball anymore.
That was a ball. Yeah. But the Octane Carbon, that was a ball that wasn't around very long in our product line, and I don't know. I think it's a good looking ball. Brett, bring it back. So how do you bowl so many games week after week after week without destroying your thumb, your wrist, your elbow? Watching you in slow motion, there's some wicked motion going on. So how do you?
I think the body itself is just, everything's working together. Nothing's working against each other. Nothing's working too hard. So, the power starts from the ground up. It starts with your legs. So I think the speed and revolutions, a lot of that comes from the ground. I create the speed with the push-off step. I create leverage from the ground. When I'm in the line, you'll see my left foot kind of come off the ground. I'm pushing against the ground and creating ground force to create that power. So I'm not overstraining everything else to do that. And as far as thumb and fingers go, it all starts with a good fit. You have to have a good fit.
Yes, I preach that all the time.
My dad has drilled all my stuff. And once I got old enough, about 14, 15, I've been drilling my own stuff for well over 10 years now. And it's just making sure I was never overstretched. And that's what you'll see a lot of guys now that have thumbs that are this big. When they were younger, their span was super long because ball drillers from the 80s, that was what they did. You saw Mark Roth's thumb back in the day. You saw those guys
super stretch,
Right. So that's just going to create tension on your thumb, tension on all your tendons, your wrist, your elbow. It's going to create a lot of binding there, which isn't good. So it all starts with a good fit.
Okay.
even to keep your wrist and elbow and everything from deteriorating, it does start with a good fit.
I think I know the answer to this one, but who is your hero and why?
Well, as far as like in everyday life, it's my dad.
Yeah,
Him and I have been, kind of attached to the hip our entire lives. He's been, introduced me to golf, introduced me to bowling. He's been my coach, my ball driller, everything in bowling my entire career. I don't work with anybody else but my dad. My dad is my coach.
Still to this day?
Still to this day. When something goes awry on tour and I'm bowling and something doesn't feel right, I come home, I call my dad. I said, Dad, we got to go work on it. Me and my dad have had such a great relationship. He will drop whatever he's doing and he comes and sits down with me.
That's amazing.
And I'm so thankful for the relationship that I've had with my dad. And my mom's been, right there with us in the background, but the moms are the glue that holds everything together. Definitely been my mom too. But as far as like a sports role model, it's been Tiger Woods. His mentality and his work ethic and everything of the sorts has been, he's achieved things that nobody even thought was possible.
I mean, he is the GOAT in every sense of goatness. I know,
it's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Even to this day, like every time like Tiger Woods is on TV, everyone's watching. Like he is so good for sports. Yeah.
Yep. And I've met with doing the Chris Paul events, I've met a lot of really famous people who's been great in their sport. And, it's been shake their hand, nice to meet you. I watched Tiger Woods. I didn't get to meet him. And I was shaking from head to toe. I was so nervous just to be in his presence. And I've met all of these other people.
Yeah.
And it's not to downplay everybody else that's been great at what they do. It's just I've looked up to Tiger so much my entire life that it was like I was trying to take a video. My hands are like,
oh my God, I bet. Yeah.
I can't even sit still to take a video of him.
So I think what we need to do is the next CP3 event, we need to part you up with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I would probably faint.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would.
All right, so you're bowling nationals. You're the anchor. Any 4 bowlers you want. Skill levels are relevant. Who's on your team and why?
The team that I have would be my dad, my papa, my mom, and my brother.
Okay. So you guys bowl nationals together all the time?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't bowl with my brother on my team anymore because of the 2 PBA cards.
Yeah.
But
I like it. You watch any TV at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch a little bit.
Someone wants to know what's your favorite TV show.
Oh, man.
I know.
There's a lot of good ones. I would say the one that I got into so much and always am looking forward to watching is Blacklist.
I've never watched Blacklist. My wife loves that show.
It's incredible. Every time Natalie and I will wait for a new season to come out on Netflix and then watch the whole season in 2 days.
Oh my God, that's funny. I just binge watched all of season 1 of Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Season 2 starts today, I think it is. So yeah. So what's your pre-shot routine?
I've never really wanted to I don't even know. I mean, I know I have one. I just do stuff.
Yeah.
But on TV, I'll go up, wipe my ball off, get some rosin on my hand, dry my hand off a little bit. Always wipe my shoe off. And then when I'm getting up to go bowl, it's always a deep breath before I go. And, the more, the higher intensity the situation gets, the more you'll see me. I'll take a deep breath, walk up to the dots, set up, and it's another deep breath, and then it's go. I'm just trying to maintain the heart rate. I'm trying to get the heart rate down a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So that way I can make the correct shot that I need to.
All right. What's your favorite genre of music?
Country.
Country all day, huh?
All day.
Yeah, I'm so a buddy of mine that works in the shops here, Joel, he is a big country music fan. And I don't know. I mean, there's a couple songs that I like. I'm not a big country fan. I mean, but it's okay.
Hey, it is what it is.
We can't all be perfect, right?
Everybody's got their thing.
So if you can have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I would probably, I don't know, is teleportation a superpower?
I guess. I mean,
like
literally
if I could
anything.
teleport somewhere, that'd probably be the one that I have. So that way I could like, you know, like I think I'm gonna go play golf and just teleport myself to the golf course and back.
Yeah, that's
I think I'm gonna go to Florida and play. I'll just teleport there and I'll be back later tonight.
I like it. So, what's your favorite motive ball or go-to ball right now?
I mean, it's Venom Shock. It's always been the go-to ball. There's a reason why it's been in the line for. I mean, this next year will be 7 years. It's been in the line.
I mean, that's an eternity in bowling balls.
Yeah, we're over 6 years right now.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those balls. It's so predictable. It tells you, I think it really tells you what the lanes are doing. It doesn't always work, but it gives you a great idea of what's actually happening on the lanes and which bowling ball and which direction you need to go. So
I agree.
I will always have multiples of those in my bag at all times, every single place that I go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I don't leave the house without a Venom Shock. You know,
you can't.
So the last question I got here, or second to last question I got here is, what's one thing that you're constantly working on that you know, like for me, it's like I got this hitch in my backswing, so that's something I'm always like constantly working on. What's something that you're constantly working on?
I don't know if I'm working on, but something I'm always aware of is my footwork. My feet tend to get fast, which causes other things to happen. That's probably the thing that I work on the most, is just making sure my footwork is in time and I'm not getting ahead of myself.
Okay. Your feet ever get quick like Jacob's, or?
Not that fast. They used to when I was young. When I was like 12.
Oh yeah.
I used to start at the back dots, and I was a little guy, and I ran to the line.
Yeah. So the last question I got here for you is, so you watch a lot of or I don't know if you watch, but in the PBA 50, there's not a lot of high rev rate guys, you know? So are you the highest rev rate with your thumb in the ball on tour?
I'm probably close.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple other guys that are also rev it pretty good, but I'm definitely somewhere close.
Somewhere up there. So my question, I mean, but there's a big gap between you and whoever the leader in rev rate is on the PBA 50 tour, right? So longevity-wise, how do you see your game transitioning? I mean, obviously the PBA 50 tour is eons away for you, but how do you get there?
I don't know. I'm to be honest, I'm hoping that I bowl good enough over the next 15 or 20 years that I can retire from bowling and try to play golf on the super tour.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate goal, but I don't know. You know, it's just one of those things. You got to just see how your body evolves over time. I'm just going to have to work with whatever I have when that time comes, and hopefully I still have a little bit of something left.
Right.
I can still rev it a little bit, but you know, it's like I said, you just got to see what your body does over time and just adapt to whatever your body's telling you, whatever your limitations are at that time.
I like it. Well, EJ, that's all I got for you, bud. I sincerely appreciate you sitting down with me and wasting an hour and a half of your life with me. But I really appreciate it. You know, is there anything you want? I mean, anything you want to let the world know before we sign off? Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, that like, comment, subscribe, and I just got news from the boss that the discount code does work, and it was correct.
Okay. All right.
So you can throw that up there, EJT300.
EJT300, and we'll put it up right here.
Yeah, bowlerex.com. So like I said before, you know, you can find some merch on there that Natalie has taken reins of, because I have no idea what I'm doing.
I mean, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
She's the one in charge of all that stuff.
All right.
But, I think that's all we got.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Again, Nat, thank you for letting EJ sit with me for a while.
She says thank you.
All right. So we'll be in contact, and I'll catch you next time.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.